mini lesson. So please make sure that you have this page out and in front of you. You are going to add the title, Plot the Points, in your table of contents. You may pause the video, add the title I've highlighted in pink to your table of contents, and then do your notes routine. Unpause the video once everybody has this page out and in front of them and they're on the next open page. All right, so it's time for our mini lesson. Are you ready? We are going to be plotting the points in this table given right here, but it looks a little bit different this time. Usually when we've been seeing our points, they've been in ordered pairs, like where we have an X, comma, Y. But in this case, we just have a table where it's giving us X coordinates and Y coordinates. So we could go ahead and to the side label the X and Y coordinates in an ordered pair, but we don't have to because they just kind of list them out for us, okay? So our first X coordinate is 25 hundredths. I am always going to start at the origin. That's 0, 0. So I'm going to start at the origin and I'm going to move 25 hundredths over, but hold on. Does my graph give me values in the decimals? No, it just gives us whole values, whole numbers. So I have to figure out where my decimals are and what each of these smaller lines mean, okay? So I notice that this is broken up into 4 pieces, and I know 25 hundredths times 4 is 1 whole. So I'm going to say that each of these is worth 25 hundredths. That's 25 hundredths, this is 50 hundredths, and this is 75 hundredths. And I think that works for everything. So now I can finally start plotting now that I know what the lines are worth, okay? So my X coordinate is 25 hundredths, so I'm going to start at the origin right here. I'm going to move over 25 hundredths along the x-axis. My Y coordinate is 75 hundredths. So I moved over 25 hundredths, I'm going to move up 75 hundredths, and I'm going to plot that point and label it A. Notice how I didn't draw any actual lines on my paper. I just plotted where that point should be with no lines. All I did was trace where I was traveling. Okay, let's do point B. Point B is at X coordinate of 1 5/10. So I am going to start at my origin and I'm going to go over 1 5/10. Ooh, and my Y coordinate is going to be 2. So I'm going to travel all the way up to about 2. My point should be right about there. Okay, and that is going to be point B. Oh, this is so far so good. All right, so now we've got point C, where we're going to travel over to the right from the origin, 75 hundredths, and then we're going to go up along the y-axis 2 25 hundredths. So there's about 1, there's about 2, 2 25 hundredths would be about there. So I'm going to plot my point right there. And just to make sure, I'm just going to, yep, that works. You can also use little dotted lines to make sure you're on the right track, but we're just not going to draw solid lines. All right, last point we're going to plot. We're going to start at the origin. We're going to move over 3 25 hundredths, and we're going to move up 4. Okay, we're at 3 25 hundredths. Going to go all the way up 4. Oh, but actually, you know what? I almost forgot. We had an error. This is not 20 or 4 right there. Cross off the top number in that coordinate plane. And I want you to make that 3 75 hundredths. And then over on the table, cross off the 4 and make it 3 75 hundredths. That was an error. Okay, now I'm going to start it again. I begin at my origin. I go over 3 25 hundredths to about here. And I'm going to move up to 3 75 hundredths on my y-axis. So that's going up to about there. Oh, I just lost it. Right about there. And label it D. Okay, so now that I've plotted these points, it's time to name the coordinates for each point that was already given. So the first point we need to find is E. Okay, so I'm going to find E. I see it right here. Okay, first I need to find my X coordinate. What I always do is I just drag down from my point to see where I land on my number line. And I see that I am at 0 and 5/10 on my X-axis. I'm going to do the same thing for my Y-axis. And I see that I'm at about 3 and 5/10 for that one. I'm going to write 3 and 5/10. There we go. Now we're on to F. I'm going to do that same process. I put my pencil on my point that I'm using. I am at F. I drag my pencil down to see where I am on the X-axis. That's 3 and 25/100. I'm going to label it 3 and 25/100. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the Y-axis. I'm going to drag my pencil over. I think that's about 1 and 75/100. So I'm going to go over in my table and label it 1 and 75/100. Okay, next up I've got G. I'm going to put my pen or pencil on G, drag down. That's 1 and 5/10. Going to go over to my table and jot that down. Then I've got my Y coordinate for G, which is straight just 5/10. 0 and 5/10. Perfect. Okay. And lastly, we have H. Gonna find H on my table or on my coordinate grid, drag it all the way down. That's 1 and 75/100 for my X coordinate. 1 and 75/100. Drew that weird. Then I've got, for my Y coordinate, just a straight up 3. Okay. Get this copied down. Then with your group, you are going to have about 5 minutes to complete the remainder of your worksheet together. After the 5 minutes are over, you are going to fold this up and glue it in like we always do and begin working on Volumeville. Or sorry, not Volumeville. You're going to start working on watching the Brain Pop video posted in Google Classroom. It is going to be at the very top of the classwork. After you watch the Brain Pop, then you're going to work on your Volumeville. Capiche? Caposh. Make sure that you are showing integrity and that you are on your very, very, very best behavior for our substitute. Have a great day.